Of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, the Trump administration is now requesting $58 million from Congress to boost security for the executive and judicial branches. The deadly shooting marks a real flashpoint in America's political polarization, and there are now these urgent calls for more civil discourse nationwide. Earlier on the CBS Morning News, I spoke with Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha and Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez about efforts to cool down political rhetoric.
The frustration we see in America is people feel they were siloed, and that we are siloed, highly politicized, each in our own area. And there is not an appetite for single-party rule or one idea in a university system or in our government. People wanted to share ideas and feel they have a seat at the table.
What's really changed is the algorithms and the internets. If you think about going back to 1968, we've had horrible discord in this country before, and we've had people do really stupid things. But you didn't have an amplification of that on the internet where folks literally profit from hate. So on both sides, either sides, there's lots of folks out there who, and even some foreign countries, who are trying to literally divide Americans.
CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins us now from Capitol Hill with more on all that's happening there. Good morning, Nikole. I know that we're learning House Speaker Mike Johnson will lead a vigil tonight for Charlie Kirk. Tell us more about that, this request for additional security funding from the White House, and this overall message of cooling down the rhetoric.
Yeah, well, certainly the Speaker has called for all members to lower the temperature, and so this vigil that will take place is open for all members. In fact, the Speaker has been leading and participating in a number of vigils for Charlie Kirk over the weekend, including at the Kennedy Center, and at LSU, the university. So this is yet another vigil that will take place here on Capitol Hill. It'll be interesting to watch the dynamics, though, because you may recall earlier in the week, last week, there was a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk that the Speaker led, but it unfortunately devolved into a shouting match. So this is another opportunity, hopefully, for lawmakers to come together. But it does come at a time where many members remain concerned about not only the rhetoric, but also their security. As you mentioned, we saw this request coming from the White House for additional funding to protect the executive and judicial branches, but also deferring to Congress on how it handles the legislative branch. We know there's been a pilot program that the House has been testing out, allowing members to have an extra allowance for personal security upgrades at their home. Some members have expressed an interest in tapping into that or perhaps extending that, but it would require additional funding to do so.
And where do lawmakers stand on budget negotiations? I think we're just a few weeks away from what could be a potential government shutdown. What's the latest?
Well, we're hoping to avoid one, or that is certainly the hope among many congressional leaders. But again, right now it doesn't appear that they're on the same page. We are expecting at some point to see some legislative text this week that would provide a short-term extension, perhaps through November 20th is the thinking. But already there are some House Republicans saying that they are not going to go forward with a CR. They're not going to support one. Among those, that includes Thomas Massie, Victoria Spartz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, expressing some concerns about moving forward in that direction. But then on the flip side, you have some Democrats, particularly Democratic leaders, who say they are not going to back a bill unless it's bipartisan and include some provisions to deal with health care. They're still upset about those Medicaid cuts in the big, beautiful bill. Also, a big deadline coming up at the end of the year to potentially extend subsidies from the Obamacare or Affordable Care Act. That's something that's important to Democrats. So we'll see, Errol, if they can work it all out.
All right, Nikole Killion with all the latest for us. Thank you, Nikole. Appreciate it.